Right now, someone you know is quietly building an empire while you're scrolling through their basic Instagram posts. They're not posting motivational quotes, they're not sharing their morning routine, and they're definitely not announcing their next big move. While you're watching everyone else broadcast their every thought and goal to the world, this person is leveraging the most powerful success strategy that 99% of people completely ignore. Here's what nobody wants to admit. The people making real money, building real relationships, and creating real change in their lives are doing it in complete silence. They've discovered something that goes against everything you've been taught about sharing your journey and being authentic online. They know that the moment you start talking about what you're going to do, you've already sabotaged your chances of actually doing it. This isn't about being secretive for the sake of it. This is about understanding a psychological principle so powerful that it can literally rewire your brain for success. The most uncomfortable truth is that while you've been seeking validation and support from others, you've been unknowingly programming yourself for failure. Every post, every announcement, every time you've shared your goals with friends and family, you've been feeding a system designed to keep you exactly where you are. What you're about to discover will make you question everything you think you know about personal growth. Because the real transformation happens when nobody's watching, nobody's cheering, and nobody even knows you're changing. This is how you actually improve your life. And why doing it in silence isn't just an option, it's the only way that actually works. The psychology behind silent success. There's something most people don't realize about the human brain. It can't tell the difference between talking about doing something and actually doing it. When you announce your goals to others, your brain releases the same dopamine hit as if you'd already accomplished them. This isn't just some motivational theory. It's backed by solid neuroscience research that completely destroys the "tell everyone your dreams" mentality. Dr. Peter Gallwitzer at NYU conducted studies that revealed a shocking truth. People who talked about their goals were significantly less likely to achieve them than those who kept quiet. The participants who shared their intentions felt so satisfied from the social recognition that they literally lost motivation to do the actual work. Your brain had already received its reward, so why bother with the effort? This is what researchers call social reality. When you verbalize your goals, your mind starts treating them as if they're already part of your identity. You get the psychological satisfaction without any of the actual progress. It's like your brain is playing a cruel trick on itself, creating an illusion of achievement that keeps you stuck exactly where you are. The most successful people throughout history understood this instinctively. They worked in shadows, built their empires quietly, and only revealed their true power when it was already too late for anyone to stop them. While everyone else was busy announcing their next big move on social media, these individuals were actually making moves that mattered. But this goes deeper than just keeping your mouth shut about goals. There's an entire psychological framework that explains why silence isn't just helpful, it's absolutely essential for real transformation. The social media illusion. Every morning, millions of people wake up and immediately start performing for an audience that doesn't actually care about their success. They post their workout selfies, share their business ideas, and announce their latest self-improvement journey to followers who will forget about it within seconds. What they don't realize is that they're participating in the greatest success-killing machine ever created. Social media has turned personal growth into a performance art, and the performance is more addictive than the actual growth. You get likes, comments, and encouragement that feels like progress, but it's really just empty calories for your ego. Your brain processes that social validation as actual achievement, which means you're less likely to put in the real work when the cameras aren't rolling. The most dangerous part isn't just the fake validation. It's how sharing your goals publicly creates accountability to the wrong people. You end up modifying your dreams based on other people's reactions instead of your own authentic desires. That business idea you posted about? You'll unconsciously shape it to get more likes rather than focusing on what actually works. That fitness journey you documented? You'll choose workouts that look good on camera instead of ones that deliver real results. Here's what's really happening behind the scenes. Successful people are watching you announce your moves and taking notes. While you're broadcasting your strategies, they're quietly implementing better versions of your ideas. You've essentially become free market research for people who understand the power of operating in stealth mode. The cruelest irony is that the people cheering you on in your comments are often the same ones who secretly hope you don't succeed. They love watching your journey because it makes them feel like they're growing too, without having to do any actual work. You're providing them with vicarious transformation while sabotaging your own real progress. But the addiction runs even deeper than most people realize, and the cost of this constant sharing is something that will shock you. The power of internal focus. When you remove the external noise and stop performing for others, something profound happens. You're forced to confront the brutal truth about what you actually want versus what you think you should want. Most people spend their entire lives chasing goals that sound impressive to others rather than pursuing what genuinely fulfills them. Silence strips away this pretense and reveals your authentic desires, which is exactly why most people avoid it. Without the constant feedback loop of social validation, your mind starts operating differently. You begin measuring progress by internal metrics rather than external applause. That gym session isn't about getting the perfect post-workout selfie. It's about how your body actually feels and performs. That business project isn't about impressing your network. It's about whether it genuinely solves problems and generates results. This internal focus creates what psychologists call intrinsic motivation, the most powerful and sustainable form of drive that exists. When you're not dependent on other people's reactions to fuel your efforts, you develop an unshakable foundation that doesn't crumble the moment someone criticizes your approach or stops paying attention to your progress. The silence also forces you to become your own coach, critic, and cheerleader. You learn to recognize real progress versus surface-level changes. You develop an internal compass that guides decisions based on actual results rather than social perception. This is how you build genuine confidence. Not the fragile kind that needs constant reinforcement from others, but the solid kind that comes from repeatedly proving to yourself that you can deliver on your promises. Here's where it gets really interesting. When you operate in silence, you start noticing patterns and opportunities that loud people completely miss. Your mind isn't cluttered with managing your image or responding to feedback, so you can focus entirely on execution and improvement. You become more observant, more strategic, and significantly more effective. But perhaps the most powerful aspect of working in silence is how it protects you from something that destroys more dreams than failure ever could. Strategic secrecy in goal achievement. The moment you announce your plans, you've essentially handed your competitors a detailed blueprint of how to beat you. Every successful entrepreneur, athlete, and creative knows that information is power, and giving away your strategy for free is the fastest way to lose your competitive edge. While you're busy sharing your 5-year business plan on LinkedIn, someone else is quietly building the empire you just described. This isn't paranoia, it's strategic thinking. When Apple was developing the iPhone, they didn't post updates about their progress. When Netflix was planning to destroy Blockbuster, they didn't announce their streaming strategy to the world. They understood that secrecy isn't about being sneaky. It's about maintaining your advantage until you're too far ahead for anyone to catch up. But the real danger isn't just competition from strangers. It's the people closest to you who will unconsciously sabotage your progress. Friends and family members who claim to support you will often project their own limitations and fears onto your goals. They'll ask innocent questions that plant seeds of doubt, suggest safer alternatives that keep you small, or simply drain your energy with their skepticism disguised as concern. When you work in silence, you protect your ideas during their most vulnerable stage. Dreams are fragile when they're new. They need time to develop strength before they can withstand outside criticism and negativity. By keeping your plans private, you create a protective bubble where your vision can grow without being contaminated by other people's limiting beliefs. The most powerful part of this approach is how it affects your own psychology. When nobody knows what you're working on, failure becomes private too. You can take bigger risks, experiment more freely, and pivot without having to explain yourself to anyone. This psychological safety net actually makes you more likely to succeed because you're not paralyzed by the fear of public embarrassment. But there's something even more crucial that happens when you build in silence. Something that transforms not just your results, but your entire identity. Building unshakable confidence. When you achieve something in private, something magical happens to your self-perception. You can't attribute your success to luck, timing, or other people's help. You know with absolute certainty that you made it happen through your own effort and determination. This creates a type of confidence that can't be faked, bought, or borrowed from motivational videos. Every private victory becomes evidence that you can trust yourself to follow through. When you tell yourself you'll wake up at 5 a.m. and actually do it for 30 days straight without posting about it, you're not just building a habit, you're building unshakable self-trust. Your brain starts recognizing a pattern. When this person makes a commitment, they deliver. This internal reputation becomes more valuable than any external recognition. The compound effect of these silent wins is devastating to self-doubt. Most people struggle with imposter syndrome because their achievements feel disconnected from their identity. They got promoted because their boss liked them. They lost weight because their trainer pushed them. They started a business because their friend encouraged them. But when you transform in silence, every result is undeniably yours. This creates what psychologists call authentic confidence, the kind that doesn't need constant reinforcement or validation from others. You're not confident because people tell you that you're capable. You're confident because you have a track record of private victories that nobody can dispute or diminish. Your self-worth becomes internally generated rather than externally dependent. The most powerful aspect is how this confidence shows up in your daily interactions. People can sense when someone has real substance versus when they're just performing confidence. When your achievements are built in silence, you develop a quiet authority that speaks louder than any social media highlight reel. You don't need to convince anyone of your capabilities because you're not trying to convince yourself. But here's where most people make a critical mistake that ruins everything they've built in silence. The art of selective sharing. There's a crucial difference between announcing your dreams and revealing your results. And understanding this distinction separates the truly successful from those who stay stuck in perpetual preparation mode. Timing is everything when it comes to strategic revelation. You don't share your fitness journey when you're 2 weeks in and feeling motivated. You reveal it after you've completely transformed your body and lifestyle. You don't announce your business idea during the planning phase. You unveil it when you've already generated revenue and proven the concept works. The reveal should be undeniable proof, not hopeful intention. Smart people understand that surprises create significantly more impact than announcements. When someone you know suddenly appears with a completely different physique, a successful business, or a new skill set, it creates a psychological shock that commands respect. People can't dismiss or minimize something that's already been accomplished. They're forced to acknowledge your capability because the evidence is right in front of them. The key is sharing outcomes, not processes. Your social media posts should document what you've already achieved, not what you're planning to do. Instead of starting my weight loss journey today, it becomes lost 30 pounds over the past 6 months. Instead of launching my business soon, it becomes just hit my first 6-figure month. The energy is completely different, and so is the response you get. But even when you do choose to share, maintain some mystery about your methods. Your reveals should make people wonder how you did it, rather than making them feel like they were part of the journey. This positions you as someone who gets results, not someone who talks about getting results. However, knowing when to speak is only half the battle. The real challenge is developing the discipline to stay quiet when every instinct tells you to share. Practical implementation. The hardest part about improving your life in silence isn't the actual work. It's resisting the overwhelming urge to tell someone about it. Your brain is literally wired to seek social validation, which means you'll face intense psychological pressure to share your progress. Understanding this helps you prepare for the internal battle you're about to fight. Start by identifying your sharing triggers. Most people announce their goals when they're feeling excited, insecure, or seeking accountability from others. Notice when you feel the urge to post about your new workout routine or text your friends about your business idea. These moments are actually opportunities to build mental strength by choosing silence instead of instant gratification. Create private accountability systems that don't involve other people. Use a personal journal, tracking app, or simple notebook to document your progress. The key is having a system that gives you the satisfaction of recording achievements without the social validation component. You're training your brain to find fulfillment in the work itself rather than in other people's reactions to the work. Develop response strategies for when people ask what you've been up to. Instead of sharing your current projects, redirect to general topics or ask them about their lives. Practice phrases like, just staying busy, or working on some personal stuff, until deflection becomes natural. The goal isn't to be mysterious for attention. It's to protect your energy and focus. Build a reward system that doesn't depend on social recognition. Celebrate your private victories with personal treats, experiences, or simply acknowledging your progress internally. Your brain needs positive reinforcement to maintain motivation, but it should come from you, not from your social network. The most important technique is learning to sit with discomfort. When you achieve something significant and nobody knows about it, you'll feel an almost physical need to share it. This discomfort is actually a sign that you're rewiring your brain's reward system. Push through it, and you'll develop the kind of internal strength that most people never experience. But here's the truth that will determine whether you actually implement any of this, or just file it away as interesting information. Here's the reality that most people will never accept. They're addicted to the feeling of starting, not the satisfaction of finishing. They love the excitement of announcing new goals, the rush of social validation, and the temporary motivation that comes from other people's encouragement. What they hate is the boring, unglamorous work that happens when nobody's watching and nobody cares. This is exactly why the silent approach works so well. It filters out people who aren't serious about actual transformation. If you can't improve without an audience, you're not really improving at all. You're just performing improvement for other people's entertainment while staying fundamentally the same person. The most uncomfortable truth is that your friends and followers don't actually want you to succeed dramatically. They want you to improve just enough to stay relatable, but not so much that it makes them feel bad about their own lack of progress. When you transform in silence, you remove their ability to participate in your journey vicariously, which forces them to confront their own inaction. Starting today, you have two choices. You can continue broadcasting your intentions to people who will forget about them by tomorrow, or you can disappear into focused work and emerge as someone completely different. You can keep seeking validation for your plans, or you can build something so undeniable that validation becomes irrelevant. The people who will actually implement this approach can be counted on one hand out of every 100 who hear it. Most will nod along, maybe share this video with friends, and then go right back to posting about their morning routine and announcing their next big project. They'll convince themselves that their situation is different, that they need external accountability, or that sharing actually helps them stay motivated. But if you're part of that small percentage who recognizes the truth in this message, your transformation starts the moment you close this video and resist the urge to tell anyone what you're planning to do next. Your future self is waiting in the silence.